Bring back that beat, DJ.
I like how you remixed the line too.
Yeah. I was inspired by what's your boy name? Boogie. What's his name?
Strike Boogie.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, shout out to him. Did an interview with him on Saturday, and we'll be doing some more things in the future. We got an EP coming up. So, but welcome to the Fourcast. We are the 3Cast right as of right now, but our other members should be coming in, sliding in here real soon. But we review movies in a completely different way: movies, documentaries, docuseries, and we do it. And it's comedy, it's edutainment. And also it's interactive. So you'll be able to comment with us. We'll be able to go back and forth. We'll read the comments. We'll make some jokes about you. And that's just how we roll. Yeah,
I got 2 quick questions before we get underway. Now, make no mistake about it. Like BS said, he put the BS in BS3. We review these movies and documentaries and whatever in a way that few do, that it's rarely done. Let's just say you will be laughing, you may get mad, you may be crying because you moved to something, to be perfectly honest with you. But the question that I have is about this intro. The more movies we review, is the longer the intro going, or do you drop one off the end? Talk to the people about that. Let's
yeah. Nah, so I drop off a couple of them if the graphics aren't that good. I may take those out. But pretty much every show we've done, besides I think Coming to America and some other ones. But yeah, I just keep adding on to the end, so the intro gets longer. So
I figure because I got this dance routine worked out, and I ran out of moves at the end of this one. So I was like, I'll be getting longer.
Yeah. So continue to get longer. But yeah, shout out to Big L. Big L commented at 11:14 this morning. So he wanted to get his comment in early. So big shout out to Big L. Also, we got Hoodie.
Oh. I thought we corrected that last one. Huh? Hoodie how?
I didn't say the last part. I just said Hoodie.
Okay, yeah, but I don't like the way your face was looking.
Also, we got Rucker.
Oh, the bangs is
gone. There. The bangs moved over here. At first it was here, and then she moved it over here. So
Rucker Park.
Coming through as always. HRap though, how you doing?
I'm doing. As long as I can do this, I'm doing.
You doing the Fat Joe? You doing the Fat Joe tonight?
Yeah, I'm leaning back. Leaning back.
Just stay lean back though. Don't come forward.
It's uncomfortable to lean back.
Lean with it, rock with it.
Yeah, that's what it is. Damned if I don't, screwed if I do.
Dawk, how you doing? Dawk X.
I am fantastic, man. Fantastic day. Got a reprieve from the hot weather here today. So doing fantastic, man. Ready to get into this old MalcolmX thing.
Yep. So we're gonna be reviewing out on the graphic it says 3 through 6, but technically it's 4 through 6. I didn't feel like changing it. So y'all enjoy it regardless. So 4 through 6, which kind of dive deeper into who actually killed Malcolm X, and it really dived deep into different names. What?
The way HRap looking over his shoulder over there, you see something, man?
I usually turn this one light off.
Somebody, is anything you need to announce? the crew?
Yeah.
Maybe that ain't why you're back. Hey.
Hey, man. I wish that was it, Jack. Boy, I wish that was it.
But the narrator and researcher, Abdul Rahim Muhammad, man, is continuing to dive deep into this topic. So much so that even his son was included in these next couple episodes. So I thought that was inspiring, and he wasn't gonna let it go. So we got a lot of things to get into. So 4 through 6, give me your opening thoughts, HRap.
My opening thoughts. Again, y'all know how I feel about Dr. Henry Louis Gates, and his fingerprints were all over these last 3 episodes. I have an issue with him and the way he portrays things. Look, Dr. Gates divulges a lot of information to our community. He really helps us. He really does. But simultaneously, what Dr. Gates will do is point out the flaws in us instead of pointing out the flaws in the entire situation. The system, it almost seems as if he wants to be apologetic to the dominant culture. Mm-hmm. So when he does that, it really annoys me. And he did that a lot this at the end of the series. So that was something that bothered me.
Wanga and Hoodie Howe was clowning you. He said it was a ghost behind you.
And then
it was the ghost of my back.
My neck and my back.
Right. It was
DJ Knox coming through. Thank you, Front Ground Records, Big Illinois. Surprised Big Illinois didn't drop a joke. He come in with the show.
He just getting his greetings out the way first. He'll be there.
Right.
And speaking of Big Illinois, I just we got something put in the mail, getting sent to HRap for you. So y'all should have it in a couple of days. Big Ill.
Nice.
Beverage brought to you by Stevie Lott.
Shout out to him. We got Denise, Milk and Cookies. Thank you for coming through like you did last week. Milk and Cookies. Yeah. All right, Doc. 4 through 6. Give me your.
My overall, I was surprised. I didn't think they were gonna get down to some names like they did. Mm-hmm. They got down to some names, bro. And I wasn't looking for that. Maybe I was too wrapped up in the 1 through 3 and where it was going, but I didn't expect that.
Yeah, they was dropping major names. What happened to them? What they're doing now, and we'll get into that in a minute because they really kind of dive deep into one person in particular. DJ Ramal, salute, work ears on. We appreciate that. Appreciate the support.
Yes, sir.
As always. All right, so episode 4 was called Showdown, and it opened up talking about the threats on Malcolm's life and how he exited the Nation of Islam, and that's the signal. These statements that HRap was about to make is not in concordance with BS3 Radio. All right, go ahead.
Oh, finish.
We just need to go and get us a scroll that say that, so you can play it anytime it's necessary.
What I'm about to say, man, first and foremost, I want to start off what I'm about to say with this. Malcolm X is the reason I graduated from high school, and that's the honest God truth. English teacher, but I was cutting up, acting a fool. I don't even know why. Actually, I know why. I ain't just gonna tell nobody. But no. I had my feelings hurt by some woman, and I lost my mind. And Miss White, English teacher at West House Vocational High School, salute to Miss White. She was like, "Look, you're gonna read this Malcolm X book, or you're gonna fail." And you ain't gonna have to, hoodie. And but so I want people to understand what I'm about to say is in the spirit of the culture, not the spirit of the person. Mm-hmm. But as you look at this entire situation, man, especially this portion of the episode, now I agree with 99% of the things that people were saying in this episode. But when you look at a culture like the Nation of Islam, a culture like Christianity, a culture like Sunni Islam or whatever form of Islam or whatever religious section that you subscribe to, Malcolm X was rightfully killed because, okay, just imagine this, people.
I got you.
Just imagine this. If Jesus would have had the same type of soldiers that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad would have had, that'd be a whole different story. And our brother, man, I love Malcolm X. And even if you do some research, if you watch the movie, you think this fictional character by Brother Baines educated Malcolm in prison. It was a player. It was a dude who fashioned himself as a player. And it was his brother who introduced him to the Nation of Islam. And I disagree with the whole concept of the Nation of Islam saved his life and they taught him this and they taught him that, because this was already born into him. When your father's a soldier, Marcus Garvey, and when your mother is the secretary of Marcus Garvey, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad relit a pilot light. Mm-hmm. But even with that being said,
he watered the seed.
Right. He watered the seed that was already there. Yeah. Now, with that being said, I understand. And this sounds crazy with the type of love and reverence that I have for Malcolm X, but I would have wished I would have had the courage to do that, because he went against everything that he believed in. You believe that the dominant society was against us. You believe that the people in power were trying to destroy our community. So why would you go to those very same people and voice your issues with those people? With, let's say, for example, if I fall out with Ben from BS3 Radio, it's Ben's Get Down over here, I'm not going to the media and telling Ben. I may tell Big Illinois because that's my man. I might tell one of the homies because those are my homies, but I'll never go public with my issues with Ben. And he did that. And whereas a lot of people will get emotionally involved with what I'm saying, but the honest to God truth is this: what happened should have happened. Because this is something I think in America, and especially in our community, we're looking for a perfect messenger. Mm-hmm. We need to be looking for the perfect message. The message was unity. The message was be as healthy as you possibly can. The message was be as strong spiritually as you possibly can. And most important, the message was do for self or suffer the consequences. Now, who delivered the message is totally irrelevant. You need to carry on the message. And if the messenger is flawed, like he was, you gracefully step away and say, hey, we've had a part in other ways. I think it's time for my growth purposes. It's time for me to move on. You do not throw that brother or that elder under the bus so it could be a feeding frenzy in our community. We were already fractured. We got the Dr. King side, the Malcolm X side. Then we got the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad side, and God knows who else is out there doing that thing at the time.
James Baldwin, right?
James Baldwin, Malcolm, and Martin were all friends. So that's what we should have been doing. If you can be friends with James Baldwin and be in the Nation of Islam, you had no business telling that tale. You can be upset and walk away, but did I want him to be done that way? No. But it's this rapper. His name is Glasses Malone. He wrote a song and did a video, Tupac Must Die. And he gave the perspective of the gangbanger who got jumped that night. And if you in a gang and a gang of Crips jump you, it is your duty, a gang of Bloods jump you, it's your duty as a Crip to exact revenge. And if you are part of a culture that is attempting to galvanize the community and you attack the head of that culture, you are in essence attacking our community. And I'm gonna ask the people who are hearing this, don't listen to me from the perspective of what could have happened. If he doesn't die, this could have happened. We could have been better. But look at it from the perspective of this man, the dudes who did it, Talmadge Hayer, Talmadge X. This dude saved my life. These teachings got me right. They pulled me out of trash and made me a whole human being. And you're trying to destroy this concept. So I get it. I don't agree with it. I don't like it, but I understand it. I'm listening.
Now to your point, if you go back in the Bible, when the Romans were basically coming to get Yeshua, and they realized, and Peter realized, he was like, I'm about to cut. He cut the dude's ear off. So even to that point that you're making, the dudes were like that. Disciples weren't. It's not like they were soft. Like they were. they came from the world and they wanted to follow. So I think it was, to your point, that's true. And if it was nobody around, and if And if Yeshua was like, well, don't do anything. If he didn't say don't do anything, who knows what they would have done. So I kind of agree to your point, but also the deeper level to this is it was a lot more involved that I think that they did not deliver on. When they went into the FBI part of it, they linked that to William Butler, who didn't change his name to Al-Mustafa, but they didn't really say what his full role was. Mm-hmm. And let's bring in Wilks, the one and only legendary
Mayhem himself.
What's going on? How y'all doing?
What's up with it, man?
All right.
Yeah. So we're kind of giving our thoughts on 4 through 6. If you want to jump in there.
Just real quick, like on the Showdown, that first episode, I guess, of the third episode, not first episode, but I guess of the third episode, I felt like at that point it was a retaliation by Malcolm. I felt like he was, speaking against the teachings, which now, like I said, I don't know if that was a playbook or if he was getting at something there or if he was just kind of drawing them out to kind of expose who they were. But it was just one of those things where, some people were saying, it went to his head and he was kind of feeling himself and, and he was getting big and he was visiting diplomats. But kind of like you said about the FBI started watching him because now you're starting to gain your own platform. Now you're starting to form your own organization. And once again, just like the FBI, once you bring a certain group of people together, once you unite against the machine that pretty much wants you to fall in line, they don't like that rebunk. They don't want the rebuke, I should say, but they don't the debunk. They don't want you to come against that and try to change the narrative. We want to keep you pretty much straightforward. Don't look to the left. Don't look to the right. Whatever we dangling in front of you, this is what you need to take.
Yeah. All right, Doc.
Yeah. So to kind of touch on HRap's, statement and sentiments about Malcolm X, I for the first time, I actually start feeling a certain kind of way toward Malcolm X. As much on his side I am, right? I agree with his softened stance, right? I really do. That's more in line with my way of thinking, than what his original stance was, right? Not that I was against his original stance and I couldn't get behind it, but I liked his softened position, right? I thought you could do more with that by trying to bring, two trains of thoughts together, so to speak, right? With him trying to unite Dr. King and himself and James Baldwin and himself and things of that nature. But based on the street code, hey, the opinion probably will not be popular, but he right, street code, you got it, based on what you said,
I don't mean street code. I mean culture. I mean cult. Because let's get into some of these words. Like we look at words like cult, and we think boogeyman. Mm-hmm. But cult is just short for cultivate, developing minds. And I think in a religious sense, in the spiritual sense, he got what you were supposed to get. Because, like he just said, he referenced the Bible. You say something bad about the man, and we got to get you. Mm-hmm. Is it fair? Is it detrimental to our community? Hell yeah. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. Do I wish it never would have happened? Because that's one of the few people in the world. Outside of family members that I think is my hero. I see him as a hero. Never laid eyes on him. But I can't remember a time in my life where it wasn't a Malcolm X speech being played at my house. That's how important he is to me. But when we remove the emotion and put the community first, it don't make a difference what they're doing up here. And over here, the mission is bringing good people together.
Yeah.
Because when you make friends with, all he had to do is gracefully bow out. And I understand. Then on the flip side of that, it's going to sound like I'm flip-flopping.
There's two sides to every story, though. So, yeah.
On the flip side, I understand being pissed off and emotionally involved and emotionally immersed to the situation. But I don't want it to be a street thing. I just think spiritually, hey, if you and I'm not talking about you, dog. If anybody disagree with me, what I want you to do is go to whatever place that you can get this Bill Maher documentary called Religious. And Bill Maher's in South Carolina slapping the Christians around, and he go get slapped them Buddhists around. And that fool crossed that Atlantic Ocean and said something about Allah, and them dudes over there pulled out some AK-47s and they cut the film off.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I can't back off the street code sentiment, and the reason why is because the streets is the community. Oh, okay. There is no community without the streets. You follow me? And the rest of my conversation was going to be, Ben and I have some very, very real experiences with being involved in organizations that were accused of being a cult. I'm talking about some history with it. Okay, so and there were times to where if you'd have said something about who was running the show, you know, you had to go.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So we got some very real experiences with it, and I always say a man with an experience is never at the mercy of a man with an argument, right? And although we are no longer a part of that organization for a specific reason to us, right, germane to us, we still today, when you hear me talk, when you hear me speak, especially on the spiritual tip, it is because of those teachings, right? So you are 100% on point when you talk about the message being divine, but the messenger being corrupt or flawed or whatever you want to call it, right? Hell, I am a flawed messenger. At the end of the day, you follow me? You know, one of the most enjoyable sermons I ever heard about it from a preacher when I was visiting a church, he said early on, I'm messed up. You know, and that's the key as far as I'm concerned, to spirituality, Christianity, et cetera, et cetera. If you are in the frame of mind that understands that you yourself are imperfect, then you will not demand perfection from anybody else, right? So again, I think it's street code, it's community code, it's all tied together, right? And just like this hand got 5 different digits on it, so does our community, right? You got the streets, you got the religion, you got corporate, you got all these things that make up. You know, and then I think during the one of these episodes, they talked about, in this still a fist, whether it's open or whether it's closed or whether it's got one hand up, it's still the same hand. What is it doing at the time, right? So again, I think it was all of it, right? And according to whatever code you go by, technically, he got what was coming. Do I think it should have happened? Do I think killing under any circumstance? You know, probably not. But it opened my eyes in a completely different way.
Yeah. Beverage is brought to you by Stevie Lott.
Stevie Lott coming in with the comment. He said Malcolm X was in need of money, and in order to get financial support, he needed to expose, disrespect Elijah Muhammad. Remember, Malcolm was living off the Nation of Islam. Hey, and a couple of points here. When he was removed from his house, I think there was a few things that extended that anger, that bitterness, that frustration. It was when his friend got killed in California. But I think the house situation probably broke him down the most, because he's out of his house. But it was paid for by the Nation of Islam. It wasn't as if when he was on salary, that was his house as a parsonage, right? And then when we go back to what we reviewed the very first time, one night in Miami. How passionate was Malcolm when he was talking to Muhammad Ali, when he wasn't Muhammad Ali at the time, Cassius Clay, when he was talking to Jim Brown, when he was talking to them, it was like, I need you guys. And now I don't know, that's a direct correlate to Stevie Lott's comment. He was so kind of gun-ho about what he wanted. It was probably at a couple different layers, because he knew how much time he really had left. I think he was trying to continue to make his imprint, but also he was short on money. Like that's the honest truth.
And you know, again, you know, a little bit of it is on you, right? You know, you got to secure your future one way or the other, right? And you know, there's a belief system out there that you got to help yourself before you help anybody else, right? There's this debate going on within our community about self-care, right? And how legit it is and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, if you're not okay, you can't make sure nobody else is okay, right? So rightfully so, as HRap touched on, there's a human element to this. And bruh, feel like I done gave y'all 12 years, not just 12 years, but good years. And I helped build this thing to what it is, right? Well, hey, lesson learned, secure your future. Secure your situation, because again, while nobody wants it to go away, while nobody wants to think about a plan B, and some religions don't even want you to consider it, you got to secure your future, man. You got a family, you got 3 daughters or however many, a wife. You follow what I'm saying?
And he had twins on the way. So I think there was 3 kids, and then it was twins on the way when he was murdered. So man, this episode 4 really kicked it off heavy. Let me see. I also want to give a shout out to S. Ali. He came through. Just Joe, thank you for coming through. CNG Towing.
That's my man, Chris.
Shout out to Chris. Also, Fine as Wine Cooking channel. Make sure to follow.
That's my man, D.
Make sure to follow that channel so that you can get on top of the cooking that he's got going on. Overton Claiborne talking with OC. Man, been a huge supporter of BS3 Radio this past year. But I wanted to read this comment from, I think it's a 2-part comment here. We are imperfect beings. Shouldn't take away from the message if the message is from a place to build and grow to become better. And the second part of that, we are imperfect beings, but if the message is for bettering self while building and growing, you have to look past the tarnished surface, grab the tools needed, and move along. And to piggyback off of that, if you go into the Bible, most of the people that were preaching or spreading the message were flawed. They had bad pasts, but also at some point we have to look to where the message even started, and it started from the Most High. I mean, at some point we can't keep looking at people and expecting them to save us or to be perfect or to, the person did that, so I can't follow that person anymore. You're not supposed to be following that person in the first place. That person is just a messenger, but that's not your God. And I think that's where we get lost sometimes.
Yeah, you're 100% right. But here's the rub. When you are early on, if I'd have told you that within 6 months of your Christianity journey, you ain't trying to hear that.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Or whatever the case may be, because you are still a baby, right? You still on milk. You ain't on meat. So until you come into that awareness, it can be detrimental to some folks, right? Now what's the answer on that? Okay, maybe more experienced Christians or members or whatever the case may be, right? Depending on what organization you're talking about, grab those folks early on and immediately start going that direction so they don't get lost on that, because we know we're all flawed, right? Maybe that should be the early message. Maybe that should be part of an orientation when you got new members talking about that sort of thing, right? Because again, early on, you want to talk about why some folks aren't going to go to church right to this day? Because of this very topic.
Facts.
For this very topic, because they're like, well, I saw him do this and I saw him do that, and they're completely missing the point, Yeah.
So March 8th, 1964, Malcolm exited the Nation of Islam. He talked about the Muslim Mosque Inc. I don't know how far that got. Then he talked about starting the Organization of Afro-American Unity, which he was talking about. We want all people. And I think that's when, I believe it was during that time, Malcolm or Martin was in jail. They had a meeting. I don't know. They didn't go too far into how that blossomed or grew. And then Malcolm was kicked out of his house. And then that was kind of shortly after that, they talked about how Malcolm exposed Elijah Muhammad, kids outside of marriage. And we kind of touched on this, and Wilks, I want to get your thoughts on this. There is a certain way you go about things. And also to Dawk's point, the way he went about it was not the best way if you don't want to get murdered.
Yeah.
I mean,
not what you want to do.
You don't want to just call somebody out on TV.
He knew what them boys was about.
And he had to have known. It probably was not a shock. I'm probably 100% sure it wasn't a shock that he knew that his days were numbered when and like somebody was saying on the documentary, that was his last straw. Like, I'm just gonna say this because I'm done. I'm done. Almost like I'm done with life. I mean, like to make that was almost a death sentence in itself.
Yeah, let's be real here. If the nation didn't know killers, let's just be honest and call it what it is, because you're going to have somebody that don't mind getting their hands dirty. You're going to find somebody over here, hey, man, how's your mom's doing? I heard she was on ICU or something like that. So-and-so trying to go to college, give you a little money and I need you to do this job. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, it's not going to blatantly all come out, but Malcolm already knew as soon as he pushed that button, as soon as he stuck his hand in that lion's mouth, what was going to happen. So, it's like, how in the world is he already predicting this? He can feel it. Like, when you feel that pressure on your neck like that from somebody that is in high fashion, that just has to say a few things. And it's like, oh, we're gonna tell him, we're gonna ruffle his feathers a little bit. We're gonna ride past his house. He already knows they're gonna rattle his cage. He knows what time it is.
Yeah.
But you just take it a little bit too far. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, so you're trying to out me, pretty much. Like, your hands is not dirty, but okay. It was just one of those things where it just got too far, too fast. And I don't think anybody was going to slow down until somebody was pretty much silent.
And a key point was, I think it was, I don't know who the gentleman was. I think it was the guy that was sitting down with his dad. They had the two guys that were father and son, but he was like, that Moss number 25 out of Newark was just the first person that did it. It wasn't as if somebody else was going to do it. He was like, that's just the person that tried to handle it first.
Right.
And that just tells you that the divide that was there was clearly a divide. There was people that was on Elijah Muhammad's side, and there was people that was on Malcolm X's side. And I don't know, the people that was on Malcolm X's side, they were crying afterwards. They wouldn't. It didn't seem like they was doing a lot of defending or trying to take care of him. So
and he getting on the honorable Elijah Muhammad about how many women he had, and then you're gonna go hook up with Martin. Martin wasn't.
Martin wasn't. Man, don't
boy.
Shout out to I think that was Talib Kweli that the first person I ever heard said that Malcolm had a woman on the side. I didn't know that.
I believe it.
Oh.
Yeah, don't come for me.
Yeah, don't come to me like that.
Don't come for me.
Don't talk sideways to me like that.
S. Ali, I teach my children. I've laid a road of mistakes and good. Learn from my mistakes and do not repeat them when you see the effects of poor actions. We don't teach this, but we are quick to put down. That's true. That is extremely important because, going back to the point, none of us are perfect. So we do have good days, bad days, mistakes, and non-mistakes. And
it's so hard
to teach that.
It's so hard for us as individuals to learn from the mistakes of others. There's a saying that I always say that a lesson taught is more valuable. A lesson bought is more valuable than a lesson taught. When you earn the shit on your own, it stings a little bit more. But if I ain't pay nothing for it and I'm just watching you go through it, it don't seem to sink in as much, So, that's why folks, sometimes you got to let them bump their head. How many times with, teenagers and young adults do we got to say, hey, man, ain't nothing out there for you. That ain't going to do it. They got to learn on their own at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And when you go to that parent role, Elijah Muhammad told him, don't say anything about JFK. Somebody came up with a question, which I 100% believe that was a setup. And he took the bait and he answered the question. And then after that, he told him to not do something else, to just lay low, and he got suspended. So it was that there was that we were just talking about the comment that S. Ali made. There was some of that, I think, involved in it too. He's probably seen them as his father, or at least a father figure. Shout out to Rashawn Reeves. He said the disrespect to Malcolm and his family by the FBI was unbelievably sickening. They knew Malcolm was in danger. They did nothing. They actually thought Malcolm was making the death threats up. Yeah. Why would he bomb his own house?
Right.
The dude was I don't know if that was before or after he was homeless, but it wasn't like he had like money in the mattress or something, and he could just go buy something else. That made zero sense.
And then the fact that I guess they were talking to one of the, I don't know what if he was a sergeant, not a sergeant. I don't know what his rank was, but he was like, "Oh, we knew he would probably turn down the help."
That's right. Yeah.
Like, so you just pretty much already knew that, but you just insult the injury pretty much, and looking for him to turn it down so they can say, "Well, he knew he had a threat on his life. Right. He didn't take our help."
They were like, "Yeah, we got this. We got this document right here, and see, he didn't do it right here. See that? See what this is? I wanted to drive by slap both of those dudes.
It's like,
and you know what the sad part is? Like this is another reason I have an issue with Dr. Henry Louis Gates. We could talk about what our ancestor, the great Malcolm X, Malik El-Shabazz, did and did not do, and what we do understand the other side of the fence, but what they did a historically poor job of was in his autobiography with our other ancestor, Alex Haley, he mentions, it gets to a point where he literally mentions this in the book. I know what the FOI is capable of. I trained them. Mm. What's happening to me now is bigger than them. See, these are the facts that I never brought to the forefront.
Right.
This is why you can tell, like they said, they had 4 informants in the Autobahn ballroom that night.
Yeah.
That's 4 that you admit. Right. This thing is laced in lies. So why didn't Dr. Gates mention that? Because it's easier to make the FOI look bad. It's easier to make our ancestor Malcolm look bad and say, see, black on black crime.
Correction. It was 9. It was 9 informants in there. That's what they said in the doc. And my mouth dropped when I heard that. But go ahead.
And that's what I'm saying. If you got 9 people from the other side involved, Malcolm X knows. Like all of you guys said, he knew it was over.
Yeah.
But he didn't know it was over because, in my opinion, he didn't know it was over at the hands of the FOI. He knew it was over because he knew what was up against him.
Right.
Because he knew that they were poisoning the water. And again, like I said, when it comes to religious culture, they are going to act in accordance to religious culture because this is a dictionary. This is a picture perfect example of we don't study the word that we're involved in, whether you're Christian and or Muslim. Because if you are a Muslim, or it states in the Quran, you can have as many wives as your right hand can possess. If you can afford 50 wives, you can have them. So
who I need to talk to? I said who I need to talk to.
you need to get Moss number 25 on the
line. So with that being said, this is how you know it's a third party involved. And our brother Malcolm was well studied. So I know he knew it. He got emotional. You bombed his house. And then he emotionally struck out. So I get it. I ain't mad at nobody. I wish that I could have met him. I wish I could have laid eyes on him. I wish he would have lived forever. But I'm not going to lay this at the feet like Dr. Henry Louis Gates did at the Nation of Islam, because they are the easy targets. They are the easy people to say, it's them, it's them, it's them.
Yeah, because it's easy to target the people that have power, because they're going to stick out like a sore thumb. So, yeah, we got to link it. Yeah, like they say, follow the money. Of course, they're going to go back to those that are in control. They're not going to go to the middleman or the third, like you said, the third party.
Yeah. Now, Moss number 25, I thought I had that gentleman's name down, but the leader of Moss number 25 was, what's that guy's name? I don't know, but the picture that was always in my head is he was standing behind Malcolm. He was looking like Malcolm, like, if I had one chance.
Yeah.
he was basically getting ready to shut up.
If these other will get me out of here.
You're right. Hold me back. But they're saying that's where the group formed, and they went heavily in on that aspect of it. And they talked about Thelma Chair, they talked about William Bradley, and I think the most telling thing was that William Bradley just walked in front of the frame.
Yeah, and fixed his jacket.
He basically was like, "Oh, let me make sure the shotgun."
Fixing his jacket, or was he tucking that sawed off back in?
Well, I said he fixing
Probably.
that jacket. You gotta hide it. It's caught.
So that was a sign like this is not a clear cut and dry that he did it and that was it. Because if the amount of time it went on for, and then Dawk, the street code when Abdur Raham was walking around, they were like, nah, we don't talk about that.
Right.
Like, nah, you need to leave that alone. And it was like, nah, I'm serious.
Well, even the brothers at
Then he got closer to it and was like, nah, you need to leave that alone.
Yeah, exactly. Like even the brother at the diner, he was saying like he dropped William Bradley's name. He's like, well, accused.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Right.
or, you know, it's like
You talking about
alleged,
when he was talking about the former governor, lieutenant governor, or whatever.
yeah,
When he was talking to him, and he straightened to that. Because when he was talking to, well, I guess it was the mayor, Corey
Booker.
When he talked to him, that dude looked shook.
I'm sorry, what?
Shook.
And then the one guy was stuttering. He was like, "Well, you know, I don't. I mean, he was real like, I'm gonna get too deep into this because you know,
he's like, and that's you got some facts on that. Can I read something on that?
And one more thing, remember when he first approached those dudes outside, and that one dude said, "You don't want to get into this, because if he's still walking around, he being protected. Who the hell is protecting him?"
Right. And that's why. So to me, you know, I don't think there's a huge question as to who did it. Right. I think it's more of a question as to who the person that did it is connected to, or the people that did it are connected to.
Yes.
That's what it is.
It's a street code again.
Just because they were Muslims or belonged to the mosque or whatever the case may be, they automatically connected them with the nation, right? However, they may have been the puppet, the strings may have been pulled by the FBI with these guys, right? You know, which is why they had the protection, which is why certain names never showed up in an investigation, never, you know. So yeah, all the signs pointed to them being protected.
And HRap, the point that you brought up, SLE confirms it, that he was taught that exact thing. I can have as many women I want as long as I can handle the situation.
Who I need to talk to, SLE?
Trey Naturals.
They
Shout out to you.
You miss hoodies. You miss hoodies comment.
Yeah. My grandma always taught about those leaders having multiple women. She said they were powerful and brave in the eyes of women. Everybody wanted them. They legit had groupies. I 100% believe that. They were powerful, and they were the most powerful.
Yeah. Again, being an eye. Remember,
I can believe it.
Organization. We ain't new to it. We used to it and very true to it.
I can believe it. I can believe it.
That's real.
I'm telling you.
That's real. All right. So Thelma Chair thought he was serving justice for Elijah Muhammad. He said it. He interviewed him. He was like, I felt like he was disrespecting the person, like HRap said, that got me out of the mud, and I felt led to do it. Now, I honestly, though, we can have this discussion. I think Thelma Chair did this on his own. I don't think he was tied to something. I do think the other guys, though, specifically William Bradley,
we don't know.
The dudes who we don't know exactly, they were kind of told to get into this situation. Yeah. So we can have ears and eyes. We can know what's going on, and you can relay the information to us.
I bet you if we could peel all the layers of the onion back, right? I bet you it was a high-ranking dudes in the NOI who were also working for the FBI and put those dudes in play.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because dude can't think his name. I always forget his name. The brother who's still alive, who did the 20 years for nothing, right?
Yep.
Remember him and the narrator.
Oh yeah, at the end.
Were having that conversation.
Butler, right?
Butler,
Yeah,
Norman Butler, Muhammad
Butler.
Aziz, I
Norman
think.
Butler.
When they were in the park.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's Muhammad Ayez now.
Yeah.
Okay. Brother Ayez said, he was talking about, he said, yeah, why would those brothers let me, I guess they not brothers then. That makes me believe that, and you see, the police consistently accuses the NOI as they call Martin the criminal.
Yeah.
They call him an NOI. Or we didn't know what they were going to do. When the last time y'all infiltrated the Ku Klux Klan then?
Really?
Right.
So I ain't trying to hit that, man. This is again. I mean, I don't want this. Let me focus. I don't, because y'all know where I was going to go with that with Dr. Gates. That's why I got an issue with Dr. Gates, because he skewed this into a position so we would be looking at the NOI and looking at our brother Malcolm and saying, see, but. Who's pulling the string?
Yeah,
you got people
above?
You got Malcolm's #1 security guard on your payroll. So you can't tell me some old NOI lieutenants. We've seen it in our very first shows of this nature. Judas and the Black Messiah. Y'all got people in play to destroy us from inside out. And Malcolm said in one of his speeches,
and don't know they exist.
Exactly.
Right.
So you can't get me to believe that y'all didn't put somebody in play to tell those people, go get him. Talmadge was like, yeah, because they was probably looking like, they probably scanned the room. Talmadge is with this. Right. Y'all go with him.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, easy.
And Baba Dick Gregory, God rest his soul, ancestor now. According to Dick Gregory, those bullets hit Malcolm from this trajectory. Not this trajectory. Because according to Dick Gregory, it was dudes in the balcony shooting at Malcolm.
The other guys, possibly. And the fact that, or Wilks, were you going to say something?
No. You go right ahead. You were about to say what I was thinking. If that's the case, I mean, somebody, if you got nine informants there that day, or, no telling what they were, who put these other people there? Because the guys they were talking to at the bar, he's like, oh, I never heard of that guy.
The 9 informants obviously walked out and went home.
Right.
Not even at all thinking of Malcolm at all. And then the guy that was on the front, who was I believe that was his only security guard, right? But there was a guy behind him. I don't know who that was. There was some guy when Malcolm was
the guy
talking.
that gave him resuscitation?
Yes.
The CPR?
Yeah,
No,
that was
the
cop that was down front, but there was somebody else that was behind. I don't know who that was. Maybe he was an introducer or something like that. But
he was the original speaker.
Okay, so the guy that was down front when they interviewed him, and he was like, "I needed a job," and they brought me in here, and he was on that special unit that nobody seemed to know about, and they were like, the part that was probably the most of many things that pissed me off was when they brought him in and they said, "Why'd you give him mouth to mouth? Like why are you doing that to him? That's not that's not your job.
That's not what we do." He said, "That's not what we do."
Yeah, you an informant. He was like you, and then he went into the point where he's talking about
your job is to look and report back, not to have no opinion, not to have no thoughts, not to.
That's zombie.
Preach.
We just need you to be there. To be present. That's it.
Yeah, but like Wilks said, Malcolm X did say it in one of his speeches. He's like, they're here now. And it was widely known. They said if it was a rally or something like that where white people were involved, he knew that even some of the white people were actually FBI. And if it was a rally where there was only black people there, that he knew some of the black folks was, with the FBI informants and stuff like that. So he wasn't no fool to that.
Right. Yeah. And I think to what S. Ali is saying, when the FBI, CIA seen something growing, could become a problem, they have to keep a close watch on them. And he was surveillance extremely heavy. Edgar Hoover didn't like any black person that had that much of power, that much.
Right.
He didn't. If you were selling,
you
were selling Pop-Tarts on the street,
you could have stopped that. He didn't like any black person. You could have stopped right there. You didn't matter whether they had power or not.
Yeah.
Then I have to discredit those building us to become better. Too much power for black men. And Rasheem Reeves bringing up a point too. They wanted Malcolm dead, obviously. They went along and had a party literally hours after it. We talked about that.
Right.
And there were still bullet holes displayed as people danced. And the bigger point is that podium, when they came back years later, it was still there.
Still in the basement.
Still there. And they set it up to where it looked almost exactly. One of the guys that was there, he was like, it was chilling because it almost looked exactly the same. That building should not be looking exactly the same if you fully investigated it. Exactly.
Yep, was never taken into evidence.
Wow.
They didn't need to investigate. They knew what they did.
All right. Even when they were like walking around just drinking coffee and donuts and like,
well, it's just like
you knew what happened.
It's just like that one, the detective. He's saying, "Oh, I got to go," and she's like, "But you're off today." He's like, "Trust me, they're going to call me. I got to go."
Yeah. He knew. He probably knew the day, the time, the minute that the whole situation was going to go down. Mm-hmm. She was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to go to work."
I'm just curious who tipped off the other speakers that were supposed to be there. Like, how would they know that? Like,
right on.
Like, how would you just know that day? Like, oh no, we canceled.
I don't know, but the elder Big Gregory has been on record several. I've seen at least a half a dozen interviews when he said he called Malcolm X the day before and said, "I'm not coming because I don't want to watch them kill you."
Yeah.
Wow.
And one of the guys that was there said it just felt like murder in the air. It just felt like this was going to happen.
Death in the air, yeah.
Death in the air, right. There was only two police.
Man, it was like yesterday when they showed his body, man, and his mouth open and stuff like that. Yeah. That was tough to watch, man. Yeah. That was like it was yesterday for me, man.
Yeah. They showed it a little too fresh.
Yeah, man.
They showed the two guys on the roof. They were just looking around like, hey, we just out here catching the breeze. Want a cigarette? Want to smoke? That was basically what they were doing. There was nobody checking anybody at the door until the point of Norman Butler. When Norman Butler was saying, like, they would have knew it was me if I would have came in the door. They would have knew because I worked with all of them.
It was almost like we can't let him leave this ballroom today. Like this, we got to end it here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I hate the way they brought him out of the building uncovered, showcasing his death to the world like it was a trophy. It was. It was a trophy.
Yeah, you're right, Hoodie.
Shout out to Chris Chrisman. Thank you for tuning in. I think he had a comment up above. I might have missed, I think he was just giving a shout out to everybody.
Yeah,
but it was basically like poking the wound. Watching this whole thing, obviously, I learned a ton, but I think also it was just poking the wound of the life he lived and the way it ended. And then when you look up his wife and how the rest of her life went, it was just a tough time all around for this whole family.
Just seeing her in some of the interviews right after her death and stuff like that, and where she was just she wasn't saying a word.
Yeah.
And one of them, did you hear the reporter ask her, "Can you open your eyes?"
I just hear that.
Sitting there with her eyes closed and standing there, and she goes, "Can you open her eyes? Can you open your eyes?" I'm like,
this is immediately after her husband got murdered in front of her with her kids. And you're like, and you just asking her question after question, like it's a sports interview.
Right?
How'd you play tonight?
Right.
You only scored 15. Like, why you didn't get LeBron involved? I mean, that was like
exactly they would have did Jackie O like that.
Oh
no,
of course
not.
No, of course not. We'll give her time, her space at the moment. So we'll talk to her when she's ready.
But, God rest Dr. Shabazz soul, man. Betty Shabazz. To raise 4 people like 5 kids like she did and go get her PhD. Salute to that sister.
Really,
ancestor now too, but
yeah,
it just show you why they attack our sisters first. Because to get your PhD after seeing that and not go jump your ass off a bridge somewhere,
right? And to still raise your kids
to be good productive people too.
Right.
Matter of fact, you want to know what was very significant to me is she said She goes, I believe the future will tell the impact he made on this country, the impact he made in the world. She started predicting that right away. That you're gonna look at him different, come down the road, So I thought that was very significant. The fact she was named when she did decide to open her mouth, she wasn't just spitting junk.
Right. They were probably like, okay, we're done. We thought you were gonna say something else. Yeah. We're done. Thanks, but no thanks. Shout out to Al High. Thank you for tuning in, host of the Casual Highlight. Disrespect Your Senses, part of BS3 Radio. Thank you for coming through. And we as a nation don't celebrate Malcolm the way he deserves. The disrespect to his family is horrible. It's true.
Definitely. Well, because like I said last time, they've drawn him up to be so radical. It's like that's what they wanted to hook you on is, we don't want to celebrate that because, his motives weren't really the best. But, you'll show me, 5 white people quote Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And it's like, oh, that's okay. That's good and wholesome. Let's get some quotes from this guy, But it's like that's not even the case. I mean, he had his ups and downs. Yeah, he had his approach, and then he wanted, like he said, he wanted to be more palatable, toward the end and bring it and unite it together. So it's one of those things where they know society, they know what they wanted. The government know what they wanted.
Well, Wilks, you done said it time and time again, show after show. We get tired of getting kicked in the mouth. Man. And so that's what his approach was. It was a I'm tired of this approach, and which is why he kept saying by any means necessary. At this point, it don't matter. At this point we tired of being cute about it. Right. Cute ain't worked.
Right.
Cute ain't worked.
You're not gonna keep pushing me in the mouth, and I'm not gonna say that.
Cute ain't working no more.
Right. And he also was saying that I'm for. I don't know the exact words, but I think he said, I'm for equality. I'm for the betterment. But if you're not with it, then I'm not with you. Mm-hmm. I mean, to a certain degree, he was saying that. Rashawn Reeves with another great comment. Appreciate all your comments tonight. He said he was an
Sorry
important.
About messing up your name, but we appreciate the comment.
I said it right earlier. We
go back and watch the tape. I don't know.
We lost Wilks. Hopefully, we get him back here in a minute. He was as important.
Nobody took him out, dude, because of what he was saying.
I don't know.
You get tired of getting kicked?
I ain't seen no red dot circling in there.
But he was just as important as Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, and others. But don't get the national recognition because he was viewed as a radical Muslim. He was about uplifting the consciousness of us.
Since I always do this every week, let's do this fun fact real quick.
Definitely.
Everybody know how Medgar Evers was killed. Elephant gun, 2 blocks away, they took him out. Do you know why Medgar Evers was shot like that? The reason Medgar Evers, our ancestor, the great Medgar Evers, was shot in that fashion is because Medgar Evers was known to keep a missile right in his pocket. So if you walked up on him talking recklessly, he was going to tell you, tell God I said hi.
Wow.
He wasn't just an attorney. He was former military and had no problem introducing you to Jesus.
Did not know that.
That's why those cowards shot our ancestor from 2 blocks away with an elephant gun because they didn't want the smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Miss Mocha. Thank you for tuning in. She commented on YouTube and on Facebook. We appreciate that. So it's about an hour in the show. Now, I don't think we did a beauty of the week. I don't know if you got one.
Yeah. And it came toward the end of episode number 6. And this beauty of the week was Ilyasa Shabazz, which is one of Malcolm X's daughters. Ilyasa, if you're out there listening, I don't know if you've ever been to Texas or not. I got a spot for you. That's I mean, hands down. When they showed up, I was like, that's it. Beauty of the week in all caps.
I was wondering where she been at the whole. You bring her in at episode 6.
Yeah,
she could have gave a whole bunch of insight episode
Hey,
1 through 6.
no, she couldn't have though, because she was
No,
fine.
she was too young. Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
it made sense to me.
That's true.
Hey,
I would have liked to see more of her. I'm with you there, but
hey,
I
Dawk,
understand.
follow on Instagram. Ain't putting
Let
up
me
no
just say
booty
this.
shots, but
Let me just say this: as soon as I saw that was available, I did. So don't worry about it. We good.
It was on top of it.
Mhm.
Investigative
dropping
report.
knowledge, but I was like, huh? I'll be being pat my sister.
So they brought up the 4 other assassins, which they also did this in the past, last 3 episodes. Benjamin Thomas, William X. Bradley, Leon Davis, and Wilbur. They didn't even have a last name. I guess it was Wilbur X. They couldn't even. And it was appearing that
Wilbur FBI.
Wilbur CIA.
Right.
The other 3 had passed, and William.
And that's
X
another thing
alive.
too. I wish they would have got into how they passed, right? Because again, there's a such thing called cleaning up loose ends, tying up loose ends.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And even with William Bradley, I wanted to know, did they ever tell how he passed away?
They did not.
And it happened right then. You know,
Really?
huh? Yeah, is it because the heat is on right now, right? Was that strategic? You know,
That's what made me think.
Days before I'm getting ready to talk to him to see if I can get some more information, and just so he don't crack.
That part I was thinking, did he really? At first I was like, did he really die? Because I mean, like the way how crazy timing that he's about to go and interview this guy, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, are you sitting down? Yeah, he died. I'm like, I'm in front of his house right now, which I know that wasn't the exact timing, but I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There was an asterisk by that one for me. Welcome back, Wilks.
Hey, how's it going?
We thought them bureau boys took you out of it.
Hey, coming through the blinds on me. Feel it off the ceiling.
Yeah.
Good. HRap, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, man. It's just awful strange to me. But see, this is what I don't like. Again, goddamn Gates. This is why I don't like Gates, man. Like, you know, we're gonna get to William Bradley. Dude, you knew the path of this story from the word go. You knew go straight to Bradley first.
From
The
the
reason
jump.
y'all avoided Bradley is because, check this out. William Bradley was thugnificent. If you pulled out a shotgun and shot somebody in front of a room full of people, I'm not asking him a damn thing.
and just walked out.
Go ahead on with that. You can ask William Bradley about that.
Nah.
I'm not asking really Bradley. No. 83-year-old man.
Yeah.
Hold it. You shot a man in your 30s when you was 27 in front of a room full of people, and you had a whole life ahead of you. You 83. What you gonna do?
Right. And he just walked out like,
He walked past like,
he just got on the bus and just went home like.
Let me get my E-Train ticket.
Right, man. I hope I'm finna finish this game of Madden or something, you know.
Right, exactly. I'm about to get back on these sticks.
I'm not asking that dude nothing.
And they did. Obviously, they had some type of surveillance because they had photos of him. So I agree with you. They waited to the very end.
Yeah, they gonna be asking
shucks, we missed it.
You heard the way they said. See, that's how you know the man was behind this, because they said William Bradley went on a crime spree. Him, Ray from the Boom Boom Room and Martin. They went on a killer spree, man. He went and robbed and shotgun people and terrorist threats because he was like, "What y'all gonna do?"
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'm not asking. Hey, man. I know some people who didn't help them get to heaven. He needed help some people get to heaven. I'm not asking them nothing about their past.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the people in the streets. That's because the people in the streets knew. That's why they was like, "Oh,
you need to leave that alone."
Yeah, I know he lived. I ain't never going by there.
Yeah, when they look under their glass, hey man,
He was like,
leave that alone.
leave that alone.
Hey, because I guarantee you, it's some dead brothers somewhere in New Jersey because they asked William Bradley, "Did you really kill Malcolm?" Yeah, you did.
He was like, "Yeah, let me show you something back here."
Yeah.
Let me tell you in the alley. Bah!
Yeah, and if the narrator, if Abdul Raham went up there, this docuseries would have never happened.
But how great that have been, though, man.
It would have been.
Muhammad.
God, I needed him to ask that question.
I thought it was going to happen too because they were leading up to it. They gave us some suspense.
Yeah,
right there.
I didn't realize
they were dragging that thing along. I'm like, just sit down with the dude. You said that with John Ali like 5 times.
Yeah.
Well, you ain't sit down with this other guy. And John Ali was like, "Look, man, whatever happened. I'm 94 now. I don't really care.
It's done, man.
It's over with. Leave it alone."
Hey, just like Malcolm X. I bet you'd ask Malcolm X about some of the hookers he had back in the day. You'd got tapped up to. Hey, man, don't let this bow tie fool you. I'm gonna hurt you.
And one of the comments was the 5 shooters are asterisks of history, like the other 4 actually.
Yeah,
because you didn't know.
Other three.
And then so they talked about the shotgun blast. That's basically what did it in. And then they had a fragment steal. That part was like, wow, they had evidence.
They had the one that came out of his chin.
Yeah, which was that was wild that still existed. Obviously, they didn't have the podium.
And the way they made it seem like they also made it seem like he would have survived if there had not been a shotgun involved. They make it seem like the shotgun is what did it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much.
Yeah. It was close range, and if you saw that one fragment, how it basically it deforms. Yeah, once it hits, and that's how the rest of them did, and a lot of them was around your chest and whatnot. That's the beauty of a shotgun is you ain't got to be surgical with it. Them pellets gonna get you.
Yeah. And then the Cory Booker part, where Cory Booker was like, well, hold on, I didn't know that. It was like you have papers right now, and it was like, yeah, we got it. It was like, well, I guess let me see it. I don't.
They say a lot of things about a lot of people,
I wouldn't vote for Cory Booker as dog catcher at this point. Bro.
That brother left quick.
They caught Cory Booker slipping.
Yeah.
He's
like, I gotta go.
And then he worth 1,000 cookies to me.
Hey, not only him, the Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver, after she attended William Bradley's funeral, she got caught flat-footed too.
Yeah.
She started recovering. Yeah, she started recovering toward the end, but when they first started peppering her with questions, she was dazed and confused for a moment.
Right.
She thought he was doing a book report or something. And he was like, whoa. Security, we need to
double check those notes.
She rocked back on them ropes, bounced off, and was like, "Yeah, I was there now." What?
I got in that caddy and drove off. I was there. Yeah,
I was there.
That was me.
I know some of his homies. Hey, Muhammad, I bet you what they didn't show is what they said he did, and they would have just clicked back to him. He'd have been like, "I ain't want that smoke."
Right.
Yeah. There was some smoke come. Hey, boy, he'd asked that man. That would have been that'd have been the highest rated Netflix episode ever. He got his whip.
And he had a boxing. He had a
he the book buddy. He the book buddy.
Yeah. He would have been.
I bet he would have been talking to William Bradley all aggressive. Ain't you mad about Malcolm?
He wouldn't have got that far. And I guarantee you, William Bradley had them old man hands. If you catch you with one, it's over.
Yeah.
They're like, okay,
old man strength.
Exactly. Now let's. I do like how they talked about Norman Butler, who's the only living person, because Thomas 15X passed away. They didn't really dive deep into his backstory, which I kind of wanted to know what happened to him. They didn't really go into that, but the Norman Butler, the effects that had on his life, that was another.
His kids, you can tell his kids are still kind of holding that against him, which, is why the narrator was kind of like, the guy who was looking into it, he was like, man, you don't want to clear your name basically, and get the record straight, so that way your kids and grandkids. And that was the only thing that sort of started moving him. He was like, well, do it if you want to. He goes, I just don't trust these people. So I don't think it's going to work, but if you want to do it, fine, but yeah, it's obvious, he was even like, one of his daughters, they kind of reconnected a little bit, but it wasn't like it was. You can tell that they were still blaming him. They were still seeing him like the world saw him as the guy who killed Malcolm X,
Yeah, and he wasn't even there.
And if I watch this, if I was one of his kids, I don't see how they could watch this and not be immediately on the phone with him saying, Dad, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And he was Abdul Raham was trying to say, hey, like let me try to help you. And that's another reason why we don't trust the government or the police or anybody because of these type of situations. And he got nothing for this. There was no, and like one of the detectives or whoever that the guy was saying, like obviously they didn't have surveillance, they didn't have DNA, but none of that was needed because nobody could identify that was him. They just zoomed in on him. I don't even know how, but they just zoomed in on him. It was like, it's you. You don't need to testify. It was you. Okay, you just go ahead and get in jail. It was you. But the effects that had on his life that hit me. And he was what, 70? How old was he? 70? 75 or something like that.
He was at least 80 because dude is about 50, and he was like, "You got kids my age."
Yeah, he had a kid that was
64.
Right.
So he had to at least be 80. Got me right.
Yeah. But that, and so when it kind of went into his story, I did appreciate that part of it. I wish they would have went into the other gentleman that served that time and didn't do it. But again,
I think they could have.
You're probably right.
I think dude got a couple of bodies on his name too. That's why they grabbed him first.
Yeah.
Because, like he said, hey man, I couldn't have walked in there.
Right. He said that multiple times.
They would have knew me. Yeah.
They'd have knew me.
Yeah,
I'm out here teaching William Bradley how to shoot.
Right.
But let's if anybody wanted to touch on that, Wilks or Dawk.
Touch on what, man?
Touch on what we saying about Norman Butler.
Oh, Norman Butler.
Shit, I thought we was touching on it.
If you wanted to add, you wanted to sprinkle something else on it. Like
now, what to me is it made me think about how many wrongfully convicted folks there are and how many stories there are of this, right? And it'd be on some simple stuff like, well, you had a description of the guy. He was dark-skinned, and I'm the most light-skinned black dude you done ever. What kind of defense attorney can't get you off on that? It's like this. They don't even meet the description. Right. Come on, So that's what it reminded me of. It took me to today, and I'm thinking all these stories, man. You got a completely different description and you're completely ignoring the facts that are there. Like people shouldn't have even spent one night in jail. You know what I'm saying? That kind of situation. They shouldn't have even been took to the precinct based on the information that was already out and what you can see with your eyes,
Right. Central Park 5.
And so what that made me, one of the notes I wrote on that is I said the cops, the prosecutors, and even in their old age, reek of corruption. Even though they long since retired, man, they still smell like corruption. The way they operate, it just,
it was disgusting. The smirk they had on their face when they were talking about the informant, the guy that was down low at the Gene Roberts, and they were just like, nah, I didn't know that guy. Yeah, it was like it was a joke. It was a complete joke. And they didn't care. Obviously, they didn't care.
Yeah, nobody was going to hold their feet to the fire, and they dare somebody to hold their feet to the fire.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So Gene Roberts, they interviewed him. I don't know how long ago that was. He was sitting down and he was being interviewed by ABC or CBS or something like that.
It was like 82.
Yeah, it was like 60 Minutes or something. He was kind of talking about how they they came to him. I don't know if he was on the police force or not. Did he say he was on the police force?
Yeah, but when they first brought him in, they kind of did him like the dude on Judas and Black Messiah. Like you ain't going through no academy, you ain't going through no training, you ain't getting no badge, you ain't getting no gun. It ain't one of these kind of things. You know, you're a member of the Bureau of Special Services. You know, kind of situation. So now,
thank you for tuning in, Rashawn Reeves. We appreciate you. Anytime you put comments in, man, we definitely gonna pop it up there and conversate. Big L is back. He commented at 11 o'clock this morning. Now he's back at 10 o'clock at night. Appreciate you, Big L. It sounds like dirty cops. Yes, it does. And the special services.
Hey, and dirty is far too kind a word at this point.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
far too kind a word.
Generational dirty, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of hearing his words,
so dirty that the dirt don't affect them. They don't even feel it. It ain't right. You know what I'm saying? You know.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's so generational. You know, if you ever look at something, it's like, oh, my dad was a cop, my granddad was a cop, but you know the workings are there. You already know. Hey, that it goes back to that code again. You know, it's like you don't break the code, you don't spill the code. Mm-hmm. It just keeps going. Next generation.
Yep, the blue wall.
But there was plenty of mouth dropping moments, and the fact that Gene Roberts, that was down front, he would have been able to see everything that happened. They played the audio of get your hand out of my pocket, and he goes that way.
Yeah,
and they didn't talk to him at all. Obviously, they talked to him, but it was after the fact, and they were like, "Why'd you try to resuscitate him?"
And wasn't he one of the ones that tackled one of the dudes?
Yeah, he hit the dude with a chair that was getting ready to run out.
Oh yeah,
I think it was Talmadge.
They even checked him on that. Like, what the hell are you doing?
It was like all we need to do.
You got too close to Gene.
Mm-hmm. And Gene forgot who you were working by.
Yeah,
nigga, you want.
But you could see that
Gene couldn't fight because he picked up that chair head.
Yeah.
And I was putting things on him.
Yeah, I was telling my wife, "You security? You want no gun? What you securing?" Yeah, I was like, "Hold on a second.
Right, his path out the door. That's what he was securing."
Right.
He was like, "Where's that book at? Let me try to throw this book at him." But you could tell that he was physically. During that interview, he was torn up. He was a pawn.
He was mentally gone, man.
He was a pawn in this whole thing, and if it wasn't for him,
he was shook.
He was
go out like William.
Nah, I don't know if I would compare him to Bill O'Neill, because Bill O'Neill was like, "Hey, he's dead, but I'm just gonna come back to work on Monday like nothing ever happened."
Right.
Like I'm just coming back collecting this check. So. But
like I said, it's whatever they dangle in front of them. It's like, hey man, I got this job for you, this position.
Right. All right. So, they kind of talked about this towards the end in 6, talking about Betty Shabazz and how she had 4 kids, had twins on the way. You can only imagine being there. And I think earlier, correct me if I'm wrong, Malcolm called her and told her to be there that day. Was that? So it's like he knew. I think him and a lot of people knew. Obviously, the 9 informants that were there knew what was going on. The other people knew, like we talked about, that Gregory knew.
Right.
But he was probably the only speaker. And then they had the audio. That audio was chilling too. Because obviously you've seen it in Spike Lee's movie, but to hear the actual audio of him saying, "Okay, calm down, hold it down," that part was chilling. I want to get you guys' thoughts on that, Wilks.
Yeah, no, I felt the same way, because it's like, just when you read everything or you've seen everything up to that moment, and then you not just compare it to the movie but the actual audio, and it's like, just in those seconds, this is it. They're about to take your life. And I wonder if he felt like if that commotion was that moment. I really don't know. But, it was just, it was pretty chilling, though, to see that or kind of hear that play out. And it's like, oh, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Dawk.
Yeah, same sentiments, man. Yeah, to hear, to take your hands out of my pocket, get your hands out of my pocket. I can't tell you how many theaters I done said that in during the previews. My family will tell you, don't let us be in church waiting for the services to start, and it's a love.
Oh yeah, we used to do that together in the same service.
So to hear it for real and to get Malcolm X's response to it, to where like he heard it too, whatever, and the commotion. It's it just made it real, man. As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree.
Pretty much his last words, really.
Yeah, that was it. Because when
went to the back, that's when they started busting off. Yeah,
right. But when Gene Roberts came up to him, he was already gasping for air. So he was giving him mouth to mouth, but it was nothing he could say. It was already over. But HRap, go to you.
Yeah, man, it was one of the saddest things I've ever seen in my life. I remember, I watched this when it initially came out, and this is like my second or third time watching it, and it was sad, man. You knew he was gonna die at the end, but it's just it's amazing. You
just hope the ending is different,
right? You just hope it's different.
Yeah.
They edited it. He ducked. It's tough, man.
It is.
It just like you said, and people wonder why we don't trust anything that is not us.
Right.
Hell, half the time we don't trust us.
Right. We don't trust nobody.
We don't trust nobody, man. And it's just like we out here. It just what it did. This is what everything that flashed my eye. Yeah. Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, Martin King, Huey P. Stokely Carmichael, HRap Brown is in the fucking penitentiary right now for a crime that another man has stood up in court and said, I did. And they don't even want to give him another trial. You lock up Geronimo Pratt. It's you had our sister Angela Davis locked up on death row for something she didn't do. It's just a situation to where it's just you watch tons of black. You got Marcus Garvey being kicked out the country. Dude, it's just every time. This is part of the reason. Like, I'm not a big we need a leader guy, but this is a reason you don't have a facial leader in the community representing everybody.
Right.
Because every time you step up and say, "Hey, man, this is wrong," tell God I say I.
Right. Well, just like
your days are numbered.
Yeah, it's just like in the Summer of Soul, or like they were saying toward the end, that they were killing pretty much our leaders. And until that year, it was like, okay, here's the revolution. It's going to keep going because now you're just taking everybody out.
Yeah. Thank you, Patricia Mason. She says she agrees. Thank you.
I forgot right here in Chicago, down the street from my old crib. Literally 4 houses down, they killed Minister Fred. They knocked the building down a little while ago, but and you wonder why there's no guy. You could when you look at these things like this, you can systematically see why they have destroyed us on purpose. You get rid of the standard, and then, like I said a few weeks ago, we go from 1983, 84. Let's go crazy. We're not going to let the devil break us down. Let's go crazy for Jesus. And they say, no, you cannot say that, Prince.
Right.
To drop it like it's hot. And put your booty out on the screen. Put them on the glass.
Put it on the glass, then.
Right.
Any Luke song.
I'm not going to let the devil break me down. Let's go crazy for Jesus. To put them on the glass. All I want for my birthday is a big booty girl. Not a bad request.
Coming up in October.
Not a bad request at all. But no, on the serious side, it just you can see the destruction of the attempted destruction of a nation. Because I think it's a fixed fight. That's the pastors be saying. It's a fixed fight.
Yeah.
And we come back. And we still do what we do every single day knowing all of this.
Mhm.
That's the way,
Right.
and that's the way the Most High has made us. We continue to come back, and it's because we have to. It's not as if we don't have time to just sit around. So SLE, we have to move in a silence. Appreciate you.
It's one of my favorite rap groups. That encapsulates what you're saying. It's called Helter Skelter, and one of their songs in the chorus is "The place to be is on my side." Truth. If you don't want to be the talker when I fly the coop, and that's the way I feel about our community.
Yeah,
you don't want to be this target when we fly the coop.
Mm.
When it go down, you better be on our side, or you're gonna have a problem.
Thank you, Carolyn
Burns, man.
Burns.
Ain't that hard, man? It burns.
But
Yes, the West.
is that you know what that is?
Oh yeah, it's scared. I'm okay.
Okay, cool. Said, but this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for prey and not delivered, for spoil and not saith restore.
Yeah, that's a Bible scripture somewhere.
That's what I was thinking. It's always been a fixed fight, true. But even when you're God's people, then you'll never be held down. Appreciate that.
That'll be a fixed fight.
Yeah. So I think we kind of talked about it already, but if anybody had any other previous movies or documentaries we've reviewed and compared to this, what other ones would you compare it to? I think we talked about a couple, but if there was any other that we missed, because there were so many like layers to this, we talked about a lot of different things.
I feel like the ending of American Skin, the way he was, they escorted him out, and of course we already knew how that was going to go. But I think there was also, of course, I kept just thinking about One Night in Miami too, and all the other things that I've seen growing up with the Eyes on the Prize, and I actually have some books downstairs that my grandparents had from that era. They were the ebony edition, and just flipping and reading through those and seeing those images. I actually have that book downstairs where they showed Brother Malcolm had been slain in that ballroom. But yeah, a lot of things just came back for me just growing up and learning from my grandparents and watching different documentaries and reading.
Yeah, good point. Dawk?
Yeah, for me, of course, One Night in Miami, but knowing that still had some creative liberties there, right? As being technically a work of fiction, but also Judas and the Black Messiah. And what it made me think is that their playbook is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Their playbook is the same. It has not changed, which is why when you see this or you learn the series of events, you understand that it's from the same playbook and that it reeks of corruption. It reeks of them, it's palpable, the corruption. So those two for sure stood out to me that, look, they basically did the same thing.
It's the same MO.
Mm-hmm.
Same MO. HRap.
Infiltrate. And before he goes on to that, and see, I'm going to tell you like this, okay? It is the way, when I was in corporate America, it is the way that I was successful, is I used their playbook. I infiltrated by becoming one of them. See, people, matter of fact, just to this day, during this show, I'm talking to people from back in the day who's like, man, I knew you was going to be this. I knew you was going to be, you used to come in with a shirt and tie every day. I didn't have to, but I dressed the part I wanted to play. I saw the part they were playing. So I'm like, okay, in order to get next to them and figure out the playbook, I need to dress like them. And then I need to go stand where they stand. And then all of a sudden they having conversations and they talking to me, not realizing, oh, he dressed like us. He looked like us. We talked to him. Now I'm going to sound like you. Right. And so now I'm on that side. Once I got on that side, then I started bringing other folks on this side with me, so I infiltrated, and that's what they do. They infiltrate,
Yeah.
And that's where I got success from in corporate America. In fact, I talked to a lot of brothers, family, friends, and whatnot that still have corporate jobs, and I tell them it's a game, and you got to play it, and you got to play it the way they play it. Use their own. Shoot. We go to these big community. What they call them? They call them town hall meetings, or these quarterly award ceremonies and stuff like that. I paid attention to, okay, wait a minute. So I got promoted to a supervisor. How do the managers, what are they doing? Oh, I saw that they wore blazers every time we had one of them meetings. Shit, every time a meeting came up, I'm wearing suit and tie that day.
Right.
They sit over in that area. I'm congregating over in that area. I'm one of y'all.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's kind of like that.
So that way, when it came time for promotion time, he already with us. So it's not some big leap to put him in this position, you know. And I'm taking the game back to my folks. Look, son, you want to do I'll get you there. Listen to me, And that was my whole mission.
Yeah. It's kind of like that movie that was on it was on Apple TV with Sam Jackson and oh gosh, I can't think of the brother's name.
The guy
Malcolm, is it like Malcolm Brown?
Malcolm. Yeah.
Anthony,
Anthony Brown? Anthony Mackie. He was in the how to get the first black bank started. He's outside the window listening to the conversation, like how they talk. And he's writing down all that kind of information. And it's spot on what Doc is talking about. It's just like he's learning how to do the numbers like they're doing, how to talk like they're doing, how to bank like they bank.
See, here the problem. The biggest resistance I got though, Wilks,
was that
from my own folks.
Oh yeah.
They called me. They used to walk around. I remember when I was, still at this other larger insurance company, and I still had my mission. My agenda was the same.
Right.
I had a plan. I knew how I was going to work it.
Yeah.
And so I was walking through. I received my first promotion, and as I was walking through, they were like, it was a group of brothers sitting over in this one unit, and I walked by because I used to go back to my old floor to talk to some of the old folks that I had worked with before. And so as a supervisor, I had a little bit more freedom. So I was doing that pretty frequently. Yeah. So I'm leaving the floor and passing by this unit, and they were like, SN, what's up? And I just started laughing because I'm always in that booth. So I'm like, SN, what's that about? They're like, nah, don't worry about it. I'm like, nah, go. What's SN? Right. They said, stupid nigga. And I'm like, gotcha, and I just kept doing my thing, right? Well, shoot, a couple of months later, I'm walking by this same unit. Hey, brother, let me holler at you. Hey, man, what I need to do to get where you at, but all the way, I'm having to fight them just as much as I'm fighting.
Yeah. I mean, hey, even Dr. King ran into some resistance. Don't be going over there stirring up nothing now.
This is a powerful comment right here by SLE. First, we must do the work to know who we truly are.
Yes.
Not what's been given to us. How many races have we been given, but still don't know who we are? That is our mission from going forward. It is about where we are, but it's knowing who we truly are. Our history did not start as slavery. That makes absolutely no sense.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes zero sense. It started way before that, and I think that is a very important point that we have to know. And for me, it coincides with almost everything that we've done.
I mean, just the
exterminate all the brutes.
Go ahead. Just the comment you just said. And you're going in that direction that I was going to. You come over to a continent, you don't know how to cultivate your own, or not even yours, but you don't even know how to grow your own rice. You don't know how to grow your own crops. So let's go build some ships and sell them across the water and go get some people that pretty much designed irrigation, agriculture, raising crops in an environment that's not the same over here. So let's bring a group of people, drag them over here, kicking and screaming, whatever it is, or the ones that didn't make it, and then use that to do our living because we're lazy, But you know how that goes. Yeah.
Not even lazy, ignorant.
Yeah, that too. All of that.
Yeah. So
it's all in the same wheelhouse. It all comes back together.
Yeah. Rashawn Reeves.
No, you're good.
He said, and that's what they hate about us, our resiliency. Right. We are the most resilient people on planet Earth. While being orphans of the world, the U.S. and Africa don't claim us.
Right.
Yeah, that's the one I was wanting you to get to right there.
Yep. Why change the playbook? It's continue to give them their desired results.
That's right.
And this is exactly what you were saying. Learn the rules of the game. To play the game, win chess, not checkers.
Yeah.
Man, this one.
Yeah, they don't expect you to keep getting back up.
Right.
That's thinking right there.
We are still prisoner of war. Yeah.
I would like to be in the office with Dawk.
I
would like to be in the office with you when they call you super nigga. Even as your boy, I'd have been in there every time you.
Oh, my boy, trust me. I had some partners. See, I was like this. I was so unoffended that I went and immediately told my partners that I work with that was in management too. We cracked up on lunch about it.
Right.
But I'm like, okay, but check with me on the 1st and the 15th. You're going to see what's super about my nigga.
Right. Every time you walk past, it's a crow, it's a bat, it's soup.
I was getting it, bro.
Okay. That's okay.
But this one dived deep into Malcolm the person. This wasn't fictional. This wasn't what people thought. I mean, this really, I think, dived deep into his life, basically from prison on,
and still had more room to probably keep going.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's just because I had to keep reminding myself what the purpose of the series was.
Right,
it was to find out who killed it, not to give his biography, whatever. Right. So I had to keep remembering that. So yeah, there were going to be parts that I wish I would have known more about. Right. But this wasn't the place for it. We trying to get to the bottom of who.
Right. But I appreciate it. Yeah, we knew that. They knew that from the beginning, but they dragged it on. But
good old Gates.
But I enjoyed the speeches, Malcolm's speeches, and hearing the audio, the raspiness. They didn't have any new age microphone. I mean, just that part to me was
his cadence,
his
pronunciation of certain words, and I could listen for hours and hours and hours.
That was countless. I mean, that was well. All right, let's get to the 5 mics. Or anybody have anything else to
get to the 5 mics? You telling us what?
I said unless you got something else you want to say.
No,
you giving the rate?
No, I'm saying out of 5 mics. Excuse me.
I need you to be clear about this, man. Like I said, you put the BS in BS3 radio, man. I'm telling you that. Now go for it, Wilks. We're starting out with Wilks.
Yeah, go ahead, Wilks.
I'd have to give it 4 out of 5. I'd have to give it 4 out of 5.
Why, Wilks?
I have to honestly say the guy that was, I can't even pronounce his, I don't even know, can't remember his name now, but the guy that was the mall, whatever he was doing. He was getting on my nerves, man.
Who?
You talking about the tour? Abdul
Raham. The mall tour guy, dude.
Why, man?
He said the mall tour guy.
Yeah, that dude was kind of getting on my nerves, man.
It's the reason. The reason why we have this is because of him.
And he was still getting on my nerves. Like shit, dude. Really?
Shout out to Mayhem.
Man, he was still getting on my nerves. I was like, this dude. God,
he was relentless though, man. Especially with that little briefcase knapsack thing he had. He was carrying around everywhere. He was.
Hey, I appreciate the hustle, brother. I appreciate it. Shout out to you if you're watching, but you still got on my damn nerves. But whatever.
All right, Doc.
I'm giving it 5, man. 5 mics for sure. And with the guy, what did we just say his name was?
Abdul Raham.
Okay, with this cat, man, one of my notes was I put in there, I said, I'm glad he wouldn't let it go. Because he's like, I can't let it go. I can't let it go. I'm glad he didn't, you know. And another reason why I got to give it 5 is because this cat, he's a tour guide, you know, basically. And he's not, matter of fact, he was about to go in to start talking about it. And he's like, I'm not a rich man. And as he was getting ready to go into it, he's like, I'm not going to go there with this, you know, or whatever. But basically was saying what we knew, you know, like this cat is doing most of this on his own dime, you know, okay, whether it's true or not, that's what, you know, again,
right.
You know,
I think he kind of started the ball rolling. I definitely believe he's definitely started the ball rolling.
I mean, even this white cat in there told him this is one of the most revered dudes in terms of that investigation. You know, one of the most revered historians in terms of knowing what took place. You know, so for me, again, whenever I'm ranking something, I'm ranking it based on, you know, the effort that's put in place, but number 2, how well it caused me to be tuned in. And I wasn't turning away, you know, I was all in, you know, there was nothing that made me say, okay, I'm through. I wish this would be hurry up and get over with, you know. In fact, when it was all said and done, I wanted some more, you know. So that's why I give it
season 2. They just greenlit a season 2
for Who Killed Malcolm X. Really?
Wow.
You for real?
How much more
how is that possible with the dude dead? This is.
Yeah, they feel like Brandy was the one.
They're probably going to go into the
black people to make look bad.
They're probably going to go to Norma Butler because they was really pushing that towards the end.
Oh yeah,
he was like, well, you know, we'll see what happens.
There you go.
You know, so that's probably.
There you go.
But at this point, William X. Bradley is dead, so that's all.
I mean, unless you're trying to do it from their angle, I guess. But.
Unless you go try to interview his wife or something. I don't know how to that's.
Well, hopefully, you know, the cat that duel, whatever. Again, hopefully now he got a little change in his pocket from this.
Right. Hope Netflix.
Well, he was still coming out of that basement apartment. So maybe hopefully he moved on up to the upstairs apartment.
Yeah. I would have liked to see more of the kids too from the Malcolm X side, but
especially Eliasa Shabazz, Hopefully they'll focus on her this next part too.
Hopefully she get a couple episodes. It just be her.
You the documentary.
Yeah.
All right, HRap. I'm been looking forward to.
I'm with Wilks. I'm gonna go. But I went 4.5.
Yeah.
Dude didn't hit me for a whole point. But in the Gates, y'all know how I feel about Gates.
Yeah, I thought it would have been less.
No, I mean, it's Malcolm X. It's a hell of a story, but homeboy, and then he was showing that tough man gum. You sure you ain't gonna shut up, man? Knock it off. Right. Well, why you ain't go straight to Bradley? You knew about you go to school and find out he playing baseball. You should have went to his crib.
He was driving around the block a couple times, and then he was like, "Oh man, I got that phone call.
Is he gonna die yet?"
I was just about to go in there.
I mean, you out there sitting watching the brother outside. Come on, man.
They was doing surveillance. Like they had private detectives taking pictures of him, and nobody wanted to.
They knew Bradley would be putting them hands and feet on them clouds, man. Them jokers didn't want no parts of that, man. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
Dude had thug life on his chest, man. He the first dude to get it.
Right.
Yeah.
He did right.
So I would say I'm gonna go 4.5. I'm not gonna go to full 5 because I think there was still things that I wanted to know that they left. I think that they left off, and maybe they did that for a reason to bring this next one. But yeah, I definitely think it was informative, it was entertaining, and it helped you learn more about Malcolm X, but also that the day when he died, what all happened, who was involved, and everything. So this was a good one though. This was a good one. Denise says my Netflix app won't work, so that I can't watch it.
Yeah, you got some cousins or some friends or something like that. You know how we do it.
Yeah.
You ain't paid a bill.
I didn't say that. Those views, not the views.
That's my buddy. She don't call me and slap me around a little later. I already know. That's my dog.
But yeah, I would say that he was talking to narrator. He was talking the big game, but he never actually made it. And it was just very, very opportune.
Hey, man, if 17 people tell you leave that alone, shit, you gonna
He kept asking.
You gonna circle the block too?
He kept asking.
Hey, everybody in that town knew where that man lived.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Pointing right on over there.
And people,
episode 2, who
right?
shot?
And they spoke highly of him. They spoke like this guy was.
He was not trying to hear none of that. He wasn't trying to hear none of that.
He was like, why did he get this type of send off?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, he did that. Look, what did he do after that? Yeah, what was that? 40 years?
Like I said, he did what everybody in that town thought was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
It's easy for us to look at the greatness of our ancestor,
right?
But you got to look at the culture he was in, and the culture he was in say,
"You out of line."
Yeah. I mean, people don't want to hear that.
And the fact that they were surveilling Elijah Muhammad for all of that time, and they never seemed to have gotten anything. All he had was a sheet of paper of something that he said about, we need to get rid of him, or it was something.
He called it that long-legged something.
Yeah.
Hey, this all I want to know is this. These people in this organization were clearly intelligent. The reason I believe the man did this is simple. It's plain and simple. What type of Scooby-Doo criminal would shoot at Malcolm X knowing the FBI is watching?
Right.
Yeah.
You would have to be outside of your entire mind to shoot Malcolm X or Dr. King.
Right.
Unless you saying, man, I can't find no job. I need to sit down for 20 years.
Yeah, really.
Right. I heard they had enough degrees in jail. I'm gonna go get me.
And Sonia, you don't have to explain your financial situation to HRap or nobody else. All right. That's between you and Netflix people. Ain't none of nobody's business.
That's between you and Mr. Netflix.
You better knock it off. That's my dog.
She know what I'm talking about. It's my TV up and log on my tablet.
This is a great question.
You know what, Denise? I'm calling you and messing with you as soon as I get off.
Yeah. I do wonder if word got to Bradley. Because he was asking around for a good. It seemed like
it absolutely had to.
It seemed like every week he was asking somebody.
Bradley was on the episode of The Wire, man.
Let me tell y'all something. All them times he's asked about Bradley, it looked like it was episode 1, but that was really episode 7 after Bradley died.
Maybe.
Wow.
Because
and he never said hi. My name is Abdul Rahman. He was like, "Hey, did you hear about this?
Right.
What's your name? Man. Oh, don't worry about my name,
right.
ma'am. My name is not important."
Right. He gave his pre-Muslim name.
Right.
It would have been like, remember in Uptown Saturday Night when he was like, "You looking for me, Lil Seymour?" That's how you got it.
Classic.
All right, so what's up next? I think we're doing the Dick Gregory.
Dick Gregory, isn't it?
Which was some of that Dick Gregory documentary.
I know Dawk,
the one and only.
Yeah, I thought Dawk dropped something in the thing.
But will it be out though? Whatever I drop.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, Beckett, it's on there. It's on Netflix.
Beckett is out?
Yep.
Okay.
It's on, it's on Netflix already.
Yeah, maybe we should step away from, in other words, put us a little buffer in there,
Yeah, and Beckett just came out on the 13th, so
yeah.
And John David Washington.
Yeah.
If you or anybody close to you listening, we tagged you on Twitter. So
we should.
It'd be great if you could come on because your range is.
Homie Ice-T. He's been liking all my tweets lately.
Really?
Nice.
All right, so Beckett, it's a thriller film by starring John David Washington. he seems like the only recognizable person.
Start that up tonight.
But
yeah, I'm interested. So we've been talking about his range. Let's see if he can carry a project completely.
Right.
Yeah, because he is it. I'm looking at the names and I don't know any of these other people. So this is it. This is big time right here. All right. So what's coming up on End of the Bench tomorrow, HRap?
What if I told y'all I don't know?
It's gonna be a good show tomorrow. That's what
it's gonna be a good show.
Oh,
I ain't got nothing wrote down.
Real quick, I just want to say, man, HRap, I got to finish the show from last week, but Monday, Tuesday, you know how I feel about the black on black crime comment. That was right there. I could have just stayed right there in that sentiment. I like that. That was nice.
My man.
All right, Doc, what's coming up on Queen 3 and King?
We are talking about accountability. The title is Accountability 101. And I'm asking, are we accountable as a people, community? How do we compare to other communities and cultures in terms of accountability? Is accountability necessary? And we're going to break it down in the way that only we can. So it should be fun, and I'm sure we'll have something for the segment. The Streets is Talking, because they always talking. So yeah, it ought to be a good show.
Always.
It ought to be a good show. And one other thing about this documentary too, or this series that we just got through watching, the intro music bass line is killing it.
Yeah.
That bass line is fly as all get out. That's if that don't put you in the mood for what you're finna see, it's banging.
That was like keep your eyes on the prize. That got you ready.
Yeah.
yeah.
Stevie Lott, you're right about that.
Oh no, definitely. Yeah. I believe that.
William X. Bradley, when they shot Malcolm X, was considered a hero. Definitely, people. He interviewed multiple people, and they said it. Yeah. They didn't say, "Oh, we didn't like that guy." They said,
they didn't back off from it.
He was revered, and it goes back to the point. Like he did what other people didn't do, or maybe didn't have the courage to do, or maybe didn't get to him first.
I made it. I can't move nothing but this part of my body. But if I move my arms, I can look cool. But y'all see, go back down here. I'm like Lil Duval. I kill her with the shoulder.
He gonna cry when he get in the car.
Boy.
All right, so coming up next week, we got Beckett, and then on the 30th, second annual BS3 Radio Awards. The Fourcast will be in the building. Also have BS3 Radio shows. We'll be giving out awards. Also the supporter of the year, so the person that's been supporting BS3 Radio big time throughout this past year. So make sure to tune in for that. And HRap, we'll kick it to you to wrap. Oh well, hold on. Wilks, what you got whipping up?
I don't have anything too crazy this week, but who knows by Saturday. But right now, I just have nothing too crazy. Nothing crazy.
All right, HRap.
Shout out to Stevie Lott for preparing the libation. But these muscle relaxers got your boy high all the time.
Styles P.
That you're not supposed to be having libations with.
Hey, if your back felt like mine, you might. You lucky I ain't sitting here doing
I got some libations can't touch in there. I promise you.
Hey, you lucky I ain't sitting here doing like this.
This fool's tied off.
Man, my back is
I am happy and sad at the same time that I know what you was doing. I wish I lived a life that I didn't recognize. What is that?
Like, what is it? Oh, Lord. Don't do it. Reconsider.
Right. Hey, man, my back.
Somebody, hey, where Miss Sonia live at? Man, put that last comment on there, Ben. Somebody, please send AT&T, Time Warner, Spectrum. Somebody go see about her.
Cable One, singular.
Yeah, YouTube don't work. Yeah,
You know why?
Netflix don't work.
Man.
You need to get Mr. Netflix on the
phone. Reboot, Sonia. Reboot.
That's what that
shot her TV
from the grave.
Yeah.
Reboot.
When you call them, that's what they're gonna tell you. Turn it off, turn it back on again.
Turn it off. I'll just unplug it, but count 30. She talking about I'm not tripping.
But yeah, hey man, this shit. Hey, when these muscle relaxers, boy. Hey, I only take one of these a week. I'll take these 3 a week.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah, mail me the other ones.
Hey man, with that being said, man, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. As you know, I do this every week. Every week I say salute to Reggie O'Shea, aka Combat Jack. He gave me a little bit of the inspiration it took to open up the end of the bench. So I always use his closing statement, the way he used to close his show. Rest in peace, Reggie. His name is Combat. We affectionately call him Combat Jack. And he would say, dream those dreams and man up and woman up and live those dreams. Because life without dreams flows in black and white. Life with dreams flows in technicolor surround sound. And I always want to salute the homie Craig Smith. And I want y'all to know, if I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, get it from God. And if anybody don't like the forecast, and if you didn't like that, then let me hit you with this. Good evening, family. And then I'm gonna hit you with this.
Okay, get on out of here.